Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be going over Nintendo's Indie World presentation. Now normally I really would prefer to do this live, watching it all together. However, when they launch these during work hours, well, we have to make do. So we're really not going to waste any time today and jump right in. Just before we do, however, don't forget that if you do like what you're seeing, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. So first, things started out surprisingly strong, with an unexpected amazing looking pixel art turn-based RPG from the creators of The Messenger, Sabotage Studio, called Sea of Stars. And to top it all off, it's even going to have music composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, best known for Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now they had already won me over with creator of The Messenger and the amazing looking trailer. I honestly was super hyped, but it was slightly diminished when I saw that it was releasing holiday 2022. A year away feels so long to wait. Now next, we got another visually stunning game in the form of ALIISHA, which seems to be a cooperative-based 3D platformer. Now I got serious vibes of It Takes Two as a basic concept, although with more of a puzzler vibe to it. And they do specify that one character has motion-based controls while the other has touch-based controls. They do as well mention that this one can actually be played solo or local co-op, so not exactly going as deep in that concept as It Takes Two did. We won't have to wait too long, this one is coming in spring of 2022. Now our next announcement was another interesting one, with Chucklefish's LOCOMOTIVE, a point-and-click murder mystery adventure once again done with pixel art. Now if this was from any other developer, I might have overlooked it. But Chucklefish just releases amazing game after amazing game, such as their latest Eastward. So paint me excited once again, and on top of it, this one is lining up for summer 2022. Then the next game we got was actually one that resonated slightly less with me, and that was Afterlove EP, a visual novel style game that seemed to have an appealing manga-like aesthetic. The game here is set in Jakarta and dealing with a main character who is going through the loss of his girlfriend. Now this one is also slotted for summer 2022. So after what I would call a decent start with a few possible bangers, we shifted to a shadow drop. And that is Dungeon Munchies, a 2D action RPG platformer where you play as a zombie assisting an undead necrochef. Now I have been lucky enough to already play a couple of hours after the Indie Direct released. And although it is a bit early in the review process, things are looking up. The game is heavily humor based, having you explore through dungeons to kill enemies and use them as ingredients to cook upgrades for your character, craft equipment, and satisfy your necrochef overlord. Now I hope to have a review ready soon, so keep a lookout on the channel. Next, we got an announcement that Figment 2 was coming in February 2022, which instantly put a smile on my face, cause that is like only 2 months away. Now if you follow my eShop deals content, you know that every time the original Figment gets a decent sale, I recommend that game as a great top-down game that blends action and puzzles in a Zelda-like style. Not only that, but it adds great visuals and a touching psychological component to its story taking place in the human mind. To top it all off, we are even getting a demo later today. Now our next announcement was a timed console exclusive shadow drop. Let's Play Oink Games, which is a collection of party games that can be either played locally or online. Personally, once again, not what I would consider a big announcement, but it seems like a long-term project that will be getting future content and could pick up a decent following. Now the next game that got announced is one that I'm actually interested in, but maybe a little bit worried about playing. And that is ENDLING-EXTINCTIONIS Forever. You apparently play as the last surviving fox that has to lead her 3 cubs to a safe haven. The reason I'm worried is the presentation seems a little harsh, focusing on how many cubs you can keep alive in what seems like a pretty harsh journey. Basically, it looks heartfelt, yet also heartbreaking. Anyways, guess we will find out pretty soon because once again it is slated for spring 2022. Next, we got an update on a game that had temporarily gone silent, with OLLIOLLI World finally getting an exact release date on February 8th of 2022. Now this was another game I was really excited to hear about, and if it's not on your radar yet, it should definitely be added. It is basically a 2D platformer that has elements of an autorunner and is all based around skateboard gameplay. We already got its predecessor OLLIOLLI Switch stance ported earlier this year, and trust me, it is truly amazing. So far I find it's shaping up pretty good, with a lot of announcements that I'm very interested in. And then we got another update on a game that I've been super excited about, and that is River City Girls 2. Now fans of side-scrolling beat-em-ups, if you weren't already paying attention to this release, start paying attention now, because I think it's going to be a great release. Once again, this is a sequel, and if you haven't played the first one already, and you're a fan of beat-em-ups, as I said earlier, you're definitely missing out. Now I even played the original on a live stream, and before we had the re-release of Scott Pilgrim, this was one of the games that came closest to reproducing that amazing gameplay that blends in RPG and character building elements. Once again, however, we're still going to have to wait quite a little bit because this one is also slated for summer of 2022. Next, we got a sizzle reel of games, and I would say that only a few managed to get my interest. Firstly, oddly enough, PARKASAURUS managed to get my attention, which is seemingly a cartoony dinosaur park builder. Maybe it's because I've been playing a lot of Jurassic World Evolution, but I'll try and check it out when it releases. Next, however, was one that definitely might be a great release, with Don't Starve Together, the sequel to Don't Starve, a great yet extremely difficult survival game. Now the last game in the sizzle reel to actually catch my eye was GRIME, that looks like a dark Metroidvania style game, however we really didn't get to see too much of it. And at the same time, it's still a decent while away, this one rather slated for summer of 2022. Then, after the traditional fake ending, we got that one more game. And this time around, it is OMORI, an RPG that is getting ported to the Switch that seems to have received great critical and user acclaim over on Steam. Now, it has cutesy visuals, but apparently a very dark and deep storyline. I'll be honest with all of you out there, I almost got vibes of the Mother series from the trailer. So once again, color me highly intrigued for this one, and it should be coming soon, slated once again for spring of 2022. Now overall, I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised by this indie world. However, taking a quick look online, that doesn't seem to be the general consensus. Now, I think that the problem here is that most of the titles that are really getting me excited are maybe what are considered more niche titles. Now, I agree, had we gotten something like Silksong, or maybe TMNT Shredder's Revenge confirmed for early 2022, it could definitely have been better. I still feel, however, that I'm counting at least 5 or 6 really solid titles, some of them sequels to very well-received games, and at least one shadow drop that is already turning out to be a pretty fun and interesting game, although maybe not a massive one. Overall, for a end-of-year December indie world that, by the way, rarely brings huge announcements, I found this one solid and has me amped for 2022. Now, I know people love scores, so personally, I would be giving this Indie Direct a very high C, almost leaning on a B. Now, I'd like to hear from all of you. What did you think about this Indie Direct? What score would you give it? Let me know in the comments down below. And on the way out, as I said earlier, if you did like the content, please consider hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when all my future content comes out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.